Paul Broady. Kia ora and welcome.
Thank you for hearing my submission. I suspect I'm going to repeat a few things that Annette has just said. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I think I'm in the category of people who think there's a climate crisis, a climate emergency. And I'm really keen to see much more vigorous action throughout society. You're probably aware that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change several years ago now said that we need deep fundamental changes in the way that we live our lives if we're going to combat this huge challenge. And I applaud the strategy. It's great to see things getting started. Now, I do look back 10 years. In 2010, you got started, and some things happened, but by no means enough. So I'm hoping this strategy will be a real launching board for really vigorous action. In my submission, I make three main points. The first one is that I think we need a really vigorous public education campaign. People are aware of climate change. I saw a survey recently. I think 70% of people were aware. But my experience around the city is that we're not aware enough. And I walk a lot. I cross over, for instance, Brougham Street during the day, just jam-packed with traffic in both directions. 70% of those people are aware of climate change. But are they willing to take the strong action that we need? And that we need pretty well immediately. If you're going to achieve 50% emissions reductions over the whole city by 2030, that's a 7% year-on-year reduction in emissions. Are you or are we going to achieve 7% reductions this year, next year? The longer we leave it, the more difficult it's going to become. So a public engagement campaign, I think part of this, you've got to project a vision of how you see Christchurch in 2050. This has got to be in our faces. It's all hidden away at the moment. It can be visual. Get your graphic designers. Present us with how you see Christchurch, graphically and in words. This engagement campaign's got to be in our faces, and it's got to be continuing. You don't just do it for a few weeks and then stop. We need billboards around the city in prominent places. I still read a newspaper, a paper newspaper, very rare. But we need full-page adverts in the newspapers, a vigorous electronic media campaign. And this has to happen from the word go from now. My second point is about...
We've come to the end of the time, so just
wrap
up the second and third
emissions
point
reduction goals,
Yep.
Great to have them. They're too long term. We need interim goals. You need to report on progress in achieving those interim goals. And this has got to be publicly available information to get people on board. And then thirdly, great strategy, 10 programmes, 66 focus areas. To me, it was just a brainstorm. What are your priority areas? 1, 2, 3. Get going on number 1. Presumably transport and not sustainable food production. 500 trees, fruit trees in schools. Great thing to do. But it's barely going to scratch the surface of our emissions. Whereas deep changes to the way we get around the city will make a huge difference. And it can make a difference quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.